Argentina, meantime, has a new president. Did you see this? The populist Javier Milei, an economist, former television personality, took the country by storm, promising his proposals would fix Argentina's broken economy. Now, Argentina dealing with inflation that is closing in on 150%. Milei's victory drawing comparisons to Brazil's Jair Bolsonaro and to Donald Trump. Ford, there's a lot of, are there parallels here, I guess is the question, because this is Donald Trump is celebrating this today. He's saying, quote, congratulations, the whole world was watching. I'm very proud of you. Make Argentina great again.
Well, I think what Donald Trump's celebrating is the fact that the Milei wants to cut the government by 15%. He wants to move from the peso to the dollar, which is very important in South America, particularly with Chinese Communist Party encroachment up and down Latin America and South America. This could be a very big turning point. But he's also a libertarian economist. I don't really see the comparison, maybe other than the hair, that you're going to actually make towards Donald Trump. But that's what always happens. When someone doesn't agree with the progressive status quo in Latin and South America, they immediately say, well, it's not Trump. And I think that that's a little bit unfair, but the policies that Milei is pushing, the Republican Party's behind because they want to see him be successful.
But when you look at him, and let's play the video. He basically wants to get rid of half the government. Was sort of what he was campaigning on. Watch.
Well, the first thing we have to understand is that the state is not the solution. The state is the problem. Ministry of Tourism and Sports, out. Culture Ministry, out. Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, out. Ministry of Women and Gender Diversity, out. Ministry of Public Works, out. Even if you resist.
Even if you resist.
Even if you resist.
I mean, he's running on essentially what sounds like, it's not just a Trump agenda. It sounds like an RNC agenda. Everybody is all about having limited government and removing certain programs, specifically destroying certain aspects of government. And I think that once you have a population that is upset because of rising cost of inflation, that is upset because the cost of living is astronomical, it creates a environment that makes it very easy for people like this to step up.
Are you talking about Argentina or the U.S. there? Because you could talk about inflation and rising costs, and that's why
inflation has nothing in comparison.
I mean, yeah, they're at 140%
inflation. But the point is these people are willing to try anything new in the status quo. Something has to change there, particularly with China bearing down their throats. That's what's happening in South America and Latin America.
Bob, do you think there's any parallel here? The political scientist said Argentines voted with two big emotions. Many were angry, many were afraid.
No, well, listen, when I first interviewed Trump in 2015 at Trump Tower, he said he was basically, there's a lot of anger out there. And what he did, he's tapping into that anger. I agree with Ford that not every leader is exactly like Trump. But these leaders learned something from Trump, and that's why Trump is going to be written about for hundreds of years. And certain leaders are mimicking him, and some are better than others.
They learn to take advantage of populations that want to see change. They've learned to take advantage of economic structures that no longer work for a large percentage of their population. That's not Trumpism. That is exactly what dictators did since the dawn of time. Trump adapted his models from that, and I feel like what we're going to see across the globe is more people doing the exact same thing.
He's also a television personality, and whether it is Zelensky in Ukraine, Trump in the United States, the age of celebrity politicians around the globe is upon us, and it's very hard to get famous these days with wide appeal. So maybe this is another
communication skills are the most paramount in politics, and that's why you're seeing the similarity.
The Rock 2024, Democrats look out.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.